everyone, welcome back to my channel, and I'm so excited to be filming again. And if you can take a look, I am in a new space. I moved out and I am so excited. I moved, I bought a townhome, and yes, I finally bought a townhome, something that I've been wanting to do for a few years. If you've been watching on my channel, I would mention that that's my goal. Watching my previous videos, that I've been speaking this into existence for a long time, and it's finally happened. Like, I'm still in awe. I closed in December of, just this past December, and I moved in right in the beginning of the year, first week of January. And yeah, it's been 3 months already, and it's just, sorry, just taking it all in. So I still can't believe this place is mine, and I did it by myself. And I'd like to share my story of how I bought a home as a single mom. So first, I just have my notes because I wasn't sure if I wanted to do this video in 1 or 2 parts, but I will have other videos of my journey. Maybe not so much the story. I'll explain the story, but other things I did to get here. I'll start from the beginning, which is almost 5 years ago. So it was August of 2017. I moved back home with my parents, with my son, who was 2 and a half at the time. And me and his dad were living together in an apartment, and we broke up, and didn't have anywhere to go. I couldn't afford to live in the apartment by myself, so I moved back home, and luckily it was only 20 minutes away. I still was able, 20 minutes away, luckily I was still able to work the same job, because not everybody lives close to their parents' house. And luckily I didn't go far when I moved out the first time, and I was working part-time at the time. And when I first moved back, I just kind of took it all in with the adjustment of moving back home with the son, because I was out on my own for a few years. It was just me and my ex for a little bit. Then we had our son only after 2 years of being together and living together, and it was a huge adjustment. And on top of that, you're not with your significant other, your child's father or parent. So and my son got 2 new parents moving back home. So it was an adjustment for a few months. So in the beginning, I focused on just saving money, paying off debt, and just being there for my son, because I was working part-time. So my schedule was pretty good, pretty flexible. That was towards the end of 2017. 2018, I started making, why my camera just has a mind of its own. So that was the end of 2017, and following year 2018, I started making a little bit more money, able to pick up hours. That's the good thing with being in healthcare. There's always shifts when you're working in a clinic or hospital. So things were pretty good. My savings was building. I was paying off debt, and that's the thing. That's another video I will do in the future, is like things you should do if you want to buy a home, and one of them is paying off debt. So anywho, back to my story. So 2018, nothing really too much going on. I'm just focusing on saving money, and not really worried about my next move as far as moving out or renting or buying at this point. Also, didn't really travel. That's another thing. Not really sacrifice, but you just kind of have to think twice of doing, because it costs money. And I had a young son. I lived at home, but I had to ask for mission to really do anything, and they never really said no. But if I wanted to do like be gone for like a week or so, it just wasn't gonna happen. Maybe a weekend, but because there's they have jobs and working too. So, and then of course his dad would help watch him, but he wasn't reliable. But that's a whole nother story. So yeah, didn't really travel much. If I did go anywhere, I brought him, and if I needed like a night to myself, I would, or every so often I would do things, but wasn't often. 2019, going on year 2 or 3 of being at home. And I'm like, you know what? At the time, not so much now, the market was pretty good. And just comparing rent and buying, I told myself, maybe I can do this. I love YouTube and watching videos of how to buy a home. And let's be honest, the hard part is saving money for a down payment. Mind you, instead of saving cash, and I call it my moving out fund, I had a separate bank account of just dumping a whole bunch of money because I wasn't really paying anything to live there. I didn't really have any bills. Though my biggest expense was childcare. On and off preschool, daycare, since living at home. So again, back to 2019. Just son's getting older, I'm getting older, and I want my own space. Yeah, I mentioned to get my own space at this point. Now, I did end up taking a vacation because I just felt like I just had this weird feeling like I just needed to get away, and I thought that it was like a now or never. Now, this is late summer of 2019. We all know what went down a few months later, but I'll get to that. So I felt like I had this feeling that I wouldn't be able to travel. So I wanted to go visit my friend in Washington, D.C., and so I'm in California. So, that's a cross-country trip, and I was gone less than a week. So I look into getting a loan officer. At the time, she was working where I worked. It was her side hustle, being a loan officer, and we ran some numbers. I only worked part-time at this point still, but I was averaging 32 to 40 hours a week. And going off my credit, debt to income. So my debt to income ratio, which I can break that down in another video, but you guys can look it up. Just basically, I didn't really have much debt. I didn't really have any debt. All I had was like credit cards. Over everything with her, with my income and what I could qualify for and how much I needed for a down payment. And looking back, it wasn't really that much. Even though there was more options, like things were less back then, it would still be kind of hard to find something, but I went with it. So it was just under $300K I qualified for at the time. And that was like at the max because I wanted to keep it under the debt to income ratio, under 50%, meaning like that's, your mortgage would be just under 50% of what you make, and that's kind of high. So yeah, so going into beginning of 2020, and I know what I qualify for. I get with the realtor. She is someone that I knew in town. I went to school with her daughter, so it was perfect. I went with people I knew for loan officer and realtor. So I looked at like 2 properties beginning of 2020 and just not into them. And so, I just kept looking, and March hits, and yeah, March 2020 comes, and yeah, of course it's on pause. And so I'm not working as much, not picking up, just working. My bare minimum was 3 days is what I was contracted for. When I say I was working, 32 to 40 hours, those were shifts I was picking up. That all went out the door because, in healthcare, like, no one was coming in to the clinic or hospital. So fast forward, don't want to get into all that. About May, I start picking up shifts again, start letting people in slowly, and I look at a couple more properties, and one was okay. It was spacious, but it was like an apartment. I would have had to climb stairs. It was on the second floor, and it had a washer and dryer, but it was outside on the patio. It only had one bathroom, 2 bedroom, 1 bath, and kitchen was small, little kitchen, living room was small, but it was in my budget. But the HOA was very high. I hate HOA. I do pay an HOA here because it's a townhome. It's a community. There's such a waste of money. But anyhow, I passed because I just knew it wasn't truly what I wanted. My non-negotiables, what I truly wanted, which I have here, is I wanted a multi-level, 2-level. It's like this is like a mini house. I do share a wall, so luckily, like, there are units or properties on this property or community where you share a wall on each side, but luckily I'm on the corner, so I only share one wall, and it's 2 levels, but I'll get into that. So my non-negotiable was 2 bedroom, 2 bath. See, I almost settled, and I did. God knew I didn't want to settle. So that 2 bedroom, 2 bath. Washer and dryer in the unit. I wasn't trying to have one on site. I'm not walking with laundry. I never had to do that. Even with the apartments, the 2 apartments I did have. With the apartments I did have, I always had a washer and dryer in the unit. Like, I wasn't going to share anything, especially buying. I know people do, but no, that just was a no-go for me. And so I paused Avi because of, we didn't know, like, summer 2020, we didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know. Like, it seemed like things were getting back to what they were, but then they didn't. And I was like, it just doesn't make sense for me to work right now, or to look. But a positive thing did happen in 2020. I did get a full-time position, and this position I was next in line for before COVID happened, and it was on pause. And then, long story short, I was able to be next in line again. And so that made me happy. I was like, okay, seems right to, I had steady income, guaranteed 40 hours a week, don't have to pick up, like, my schedule is steady. And so, as time goes on, dealing with, life and, how COVID changed everything, I always still was very grateful. Things get hard, whether it be, inside or outside circumstances. And no matter what, I just had this vision. I'm sitting here by myself in my own home. I just kept this thought because I knew one day I would be here in this moment, filming this video. I knew this moment would happen. I knew it in my heart and my soul, okay? And no matter how hard things got, no matter that I didn't, in the back of my head, like, I didn't think I could do this, I was like, nope. I snapped out of it, and I was like, no, it's going to happen. It's going to happen soon. I think it's good to have, like, a timeline or an end date, because it just makes you work towards it. It wasn't open-ended. So now I'm moving into 21, and still still working and all of that, and I start really aggressively looking, especially in the summer. And I was like, it'll be 4 years. You know, I came back home summer 21. I mean, summer 2017. It's about to be summer 21. My goal was the end of 2021 to move out. Yeah, at the very latest, 5 years, which would be this summer to move out. So I was really pushing for end of 21, but I was gonna give myself grace and space, the absolute max, because mind you, I was buying it. The home buying process can take a while. Was 22. Thank God I achieved that goal of just over 4 years. So I have the realtor. So I've been working with the same realtor, and I'm the one who's looking, and that's what you do. You know, you're the one who's looking. Sometimes, you know, realtors, you know, you usually tell them what you're looking for, and you find something, and then they set it up to do, you know, a viewing or whatever. But I don't know. I felt like I needed to change it up. I stuck with the same loan officer because she had all my information, and you know, she was fine. There was nothing wrong with the realtor. I was just like, something told me to look at other options. See if someone else can find me something. Now, granted, I didn't have, you know, the very high budget, because, you know, 21, big difference from 2020 with the housing market. Things are just getting higher and higher, you know, by the week, by the month, and all that. So I find this guy my dad found, you know, through just mutual relationships in town, just to keep it short and simple. He's great, like around my age, maybe a little older, and you know, very chill, very, you know, he got back to me, and so did my previous realtor. She did, but you know what? The second property, I only looked at 2 properties with him. So getting to the good part, the first property was okay. HOA was high. Again, the second story condo, I felt like I could do better. It was way overpriced. Second property I found online. I thought this whole time this townhome was thing. When I make another video of all the technical and financial stuff, I qualified for HOA. I saw this property in 2020. I drove through it. It was within my price range. It's what I wanted. It's like a mini house, right? And it's just, you know, they say with law of attraction, you know, you visualization, I can't say the word, visualization works, because I said this would be perfect for me. Little did I know, over a year later, it would happen. And so you know, in 2020, I saw this place. My realtor at the time, the lady, she said, "Oh, it's not a FHA approved community." She says she didn't say that, but I remember her saying that, because why couldn't we move forward if you didn't, right? Why didn't you look into it? Because it turns out this is technically a single family home, even though I have an HOA. Even though I have an attached wall, this is called a planned unit development, PUD. FHA approved. For some reason, this was not listed, because in my county, you can look up FHA approved condos or townhomes. For some reason, this community never came up. And that's why it's important to have a good realtor. Not saying she wasn't, but my new one, the guy, he immediately said, "Oh no, this qualifies for FHA. It's a PUD. It's considered a single family home." I was like, wow, it's okay. Timing is everything. I wasn't ready for it in 2020, but I was ready now. I was running in 2021. So I see this online. He sets up the viewing. It's vacant, and it's in great shape except for the walls, and had these disgusting green carpet. I was like, if I go through with this, I'm not moving in until fresh paint and new floors. There's 2 flights of stairs, and just carpet wasn't gonna work. Where it's a lot of going up and down the stairs. I viewed this property on a Wednesday. I'm kind of tired from work, and I was like, you know, I like it with an offer. I tell him I want to make an offer. I didn't tell my loan officer that I was going to go at listing price, because you know the market's going crazy, right? Typically people go over asking price. Friday realtor calls me and says it's between me and somebody else, and that person didn't have enough to cash to close. So he said he would get back to me and keep me updated as to just to see if the owner would accept my offer. So Saturday morning, I get a call from my realtor, and a split second, like before I answer, I was like, he's gonna tell me they accepted my offer, because why else would he be calling, right? And he did. He accepted my offer, and I'm just, you know, over the moon. In end of October, like around Halloween, and my loan officer is like, okay, this is it. Like, things are gonna move fast, because you know you have ideally 30 days to close, right? And to not like drag this story out, like Thanksgiving pushed some things back. You know, the inspection, and you know, some things happened that I kind of don't remember or don't want to remember. Nothing too drastic, but it was stressful because, you know, I put a good down payment, and then I had to do cash to close, another, you know, 3,000-4,000. I don't even know at this point. You know, it was all worth it. So I did not finally get my keys until December, I think 4th. It was a Monday, 2 weeks before my birthday, 2 weeks before I turned 35. So at 34, almost 35, I became a homeowner. So that's my story. I'll make follow-up videos, because I just gave a general timeline of what happened, but this video would be very long if I really went into details of what I did to make this happen, because it wasn't easy. A lot of, you know, some sacrifice, not, you know, too drastic. I mean, I said earlier, I still went on vacation, I still did stuff, but when you have a kid, it's like you can't really do much anyway. Like, you can't. I wasn't as free, and then if I didn't have a kid, I probably either A, would have worked 2 jobs, or just been like people I work with that were my age, still living at home with family, and then just going on trips all the time, going to Europe, going to Jamaica, or whatever. I did get invited to go to Dominican Republic. I got invited to go beginning of 2019, and I said no. I have a passport now, but I didn't at the time. But I mean, of course, you know, you could have got one, obviously, but I was like, no, that's too far, and that would have been a lot of money. You know, I did spend money in other ways with, you know, my designer purchases, but I can keep that forever. And of course, you know, traveling in experiences is, you know, pretty important too. And I love traveling. I'm a true Sagittarius, but I just felt like it could wait. You know, it could wait. I just, you gotta do what you need to do to accomplish your goals. And mine was being a homeowner, and not just being a homeowner, just to move out. Like that, just having my own space again for me, my son, was just, it trumped everything. Since I keep getting interrupted with my camera shutting off, let me wrap this up by saying anything is possible. I know I'm filming this video in April of 2022. Shit's a mess. Things are a mess. But I will not tell anyone they can't do anything. And as long as you have a plan, a goal, you stick to it, and habits, anything's possible. And you still have to believe that it's possible for you, no matter what's going on in your life, personally or external factors. And I get it. I just had this urgency, and I knew the sooner the better, because don't wait. Don't wait. The market, sorry, I mean, you can do your own research, but it's not going to crash like it did in 2008. They were giving out loans like candy. It's not like that anymore. People are coming in with money and buying a lot of property, and it's skyrocketing. Interest rates are going up. I got in with a good interest rate, and I feel very grateful for that. So yeah, I'm glad to have finally been able to share my story as to how I became a homeowner as a single parent just before turning 35. And if I can do it, you can do it. So thanks again for watching my video, and I will continue to make more follow-ups to how I got here, and I just plan on being more consistent. I have no excuse now. I have my own space. I'm filming in my living room. So again, ending this video with my advice. Yeah, I would buy sooner than later. If you have, the down payment, you've been saving, and credit's good, I will look into the process, because everything is just going up, the houses and the interest rates. So yeah, again, if I could do it, you can do it. And if you just have that dream and goal, then that's all you need. And then just do the work to get there. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.